Perfect. I think I got it all figured out now. Let me start sharing now my camera and also bringing this up. All right, guys. So, do we have audio? Let me know in the side chat. Just a last confirmation. Perfect. All right. All right. Let's get started first. We're gonna go over the indicators. That's what we're gonna get started with, and then also we're gonna be seeing how to upgrade your version if you haven't, and then we're gonna be doing some live analysis. So, guys, if you want me to take a look at any analysis with the new tools or with any particular tool, let me know. I'll be more than glad to give you that analysis. Also, by the way, because I mean, everybody has its own style. To give you a complete analysis, I will also be using other tools, and that is because I might be more proficient using also other tools, right? But the point is for you guys to understand how to use maybe one or two other tool that you may be interested on. And well, let's just get started, right? All right, let me share my screen. So here we go. If you haven't watched, I already have uploaded today's class to the class recordings. Let me get it to you right here. Class recordings. You can go watch it right now. It's basically at the last 15 minutes on how to start the changing of your indicators. And now I already have most of them changed. All right. So we went over market oracle. I'm gonna go over it one more time. And then also we're gonna be taking a look at the market dynamics pro, all right? So the first of all, it is when you start doing your indicators, depending on how many indicators you can get on your plan, you might have a restriction, all right? I have, because I need to test a couple of things, I have the top tier of the trading view. My suggestion, friendly suggestion, it is if you don't need it, don't get it, and then just upgrade as you need stuff, all right? So it's always about, like saving as much money as we can. And then as you need one or two things, well, then you just start doing that. By the way, Tobias, what's up, brother? Have seen your gains on the Share Your Profit channel. That is amazing. Congratulations for those uploads. And man, I just wanted to bring that up, by the way. All right. Is there a RAM restriction on new updates? Yes, but not on ours. Let me explain that because you might be seeing me talking about RAM. It's not about your computer. Your computer, most likely, if you have 8 gigabytes of RAM or higher, most likely you have enough RAM to do some stuff, right? First of all, 8 gigs of RAM, it's on the bare limit to run your operating system in your browser or your application, depending on what you're using, right? And the more things you get to your application, the more RAM you're gonna be using. Like for example, if I right here, if I start adding more tabs like this, right, my RAM consumption is gonna skyrocket, right? Therefore, my computer might get slow, but you'll see that on how your mouse move. And sometimes like this feed might be looking choppy, might be looking like that, right? And then boom, it disappears or something like that. But the RAM that I think you are referring to, it is the RAM that TradingView assignates to your account. Remember that TradingView, it's a huge data center, right? It has its servers, and each server needs to process all of the indicators data, right? So that's why we have a restriction while creating an indicator. We are not trying to make your indicator like unplayable. So we need also sometimes to strip out some code or rebuild that code to be lighter or faster to read, not only to give you more series of calculations, but also for that calculation to be easier and faster. That way, when that calculation is processed on TradingView's data server or data servers, then it will not run into errors. All right. A good way to avoid or to overcome that those errors. By the way, those errors is basically when you turn on your indicators, you have a little red exclamation point and says something like data error or something. You just can say you need to click on me and then click on the streaming that tells us. Guys, do anybody else have a problem watching my stream? Video is there. Perfect. Thank you for that, Lucky Deal. Really appreciate it. No, 5x. Perfect. Great. Love it. 5 out of 5. Perfect. Thank you for that. All right. So sometimes you'll have it. The easiest way is to, first of all, look at that you don't have any other tab with TradingView or any other hidden window. Like, for example, I have 3 monitors. Sometimes I have on my right a window with 3 tabs, and then in front of me a window with another 3 tabs, right? You will need to close your secondary window, right? And all the tabs that you have at the top. And then while you have just one like this one up here, then you refresh. You do this. Oh, let's not do this. Wait, because I have not yet saved it. Whew, that was a close call. Man, I've been working on this chart all day long. But so you just refresh it, and that will try to reconnect once again. If that does not help, just reboot your whole system. You might ask, oh, see, that has nothing to do with their servers, right? You might be correct, but there's something called cookies, right? Cookies hold sometimes some reference connection to your system, right? And if you've been running very heavy indicators, sometimes you have a RAM restriction, or the other way around, if you've been running very few or lightweight indicators, because they knows that you are not using the full RAM potential, they put you into a momentary RAM restriction, right, on their servers. So what we're trying to do by rebooting your system, your whole computer, right, either a PC, Mac, desktop, whatever you want to call it, right, it is to force those cookies to clear up or to go out of your browser for a little second, and then when you come back in, force a fresh connection to their system. Therefore, they will be giving you the full bandwidth of the RAM that they allow. Does that answer the RAM question, Alba? So long story short, first refresh, secondary reboot, right? Perfect. All right. Now, let's take a look at a couple of things in here. First of all, you'll see that I would not be able to go back into the previous version of Market Oracle. But the point is, and I'll show you on the Market Dynamics, it is to copy and paste your settings. Why? Because if you just update them, let me see if I can show you how that looks. Well, sometimes you'll see a little recycling thing in there, right? And if you click it, you'll lose your settings on that layer, and then it's just a pain to rebuild them, right, without being mentally prepared for it. So as you can see, I have 3.34. If you're available to, well then just click here, right click on your home just to get another window. All right. Once you're in here, you can go once again to Superchart, and then you have this thing like that. So when you turn on your settings or click on your settings, you'll have your 334 settings, and then in the other one right here, you can have your 336 settings, right? Sometimes this is a little bit too much, and it is going to be a pain to go back and forth. So I'm not gonna do it in here. I'm just gonna be copying this data, pasting it into TradingView, and then just migrating that data from one indicator to another one. So far, any questions? All right, I guess not. So if you have any questions, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. All right. So let me clear this up, and I'm gonna be working with this window. First of all, when you click your indicators in here at the top, then make sure, and guys, I cannot stress this enough. I know you you are not one of those, but just in case sellers have done this, double check. Double check that you are in invite-only scripts, all right? Another caveat is that you are not absolutely guarantee you that you're not going to have the same indicators as I do, because many of these are testing samples, have indicators, in-process indicators, and many other things that the developers send us, me and Alex, and Alex or Crypto and Army Piper to test, to try to break them and come back with review information, all right? So if you see an indicator that is not on yours, most likely it's not part of your package because it's a half-built indicator, right? Do we have Market Dynamics Plus? If you have Plus, yes, you do. Market Dynamics. Yeah, Market Dynamics. Sorry, my bad. You caught me with the guard down. No, we don't. It's not out yet. My bad. Sorry. You caught me with the guard down here. Lucky deal. A good question. I F up. So sorry about this. I need to be clear. No, it is not a Market Dynamic Plus yet. All right. Don't know if there's going to be one. That depends if we create a deal with an influencer and that influencer get us but how do you call this? I don't know, restricted or on a deal feedback, right? Or suggestions that are copyright protected, right? For us to add to it. In that case, that we will be creating a Market Dynamic Plus. But other than that, we're trying to get it on the Pro version, right? So remember that the Plus is for all of the extra data that the influencers are willing to work with us and give us, convenience code, convenience, more convenient movements, more convenience like additions, so on and so forth, right? But of course, that to get the influencers to do that job alongside with us, well, we need to retribute their time. So that's why there's a plus section here, right? But how do you know which indicators are in the list? Which indicators in the list? Which settings? I'm not following. Maybe could you explain it to me a little bit more simple? Some contain volume settings, some trend lines, etc. Oh, so you're talking about my settings, right? On the right side of my chart. All right, I'll go over it, but basically that is just like your own sandwich. You just put how many layers of ham, pepperoni, cheese, lettuce, right? However you build this the way you like it. I'll show you mine. You showed me yours, right? I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I'll show you my settings here. I'll give you a brief explanation how I'm building this. And everything runs around what I've called a three-layer strategy. The three-layer strategy is just an overall structural base. Johnny Silver. Which is just the analogy of having at least three different indicators looking at different parts of the market or different flanks of the market to give you a more accurate perspective of all of your surroundings, right? Because if you are just using volume indicators, well, then you'll have a very complete just volume perspective. Does that make sense? Maybe price action might be getting you by the side, and maybe, I don't know, volatility might be getting you from the back, and that's how they can get your stop losses or your stop outs, right? But that's basically just what is behind a three-layer strategy. That's what I built this for, but I'll explain. All right, let's continue. Too much talk, but if you have a question, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer it, all right? So let's add in here Market Dynamics Pro, all right? As you can see, this is 334, and I want 336, all right? There's a little bit caveat here that I will explain a little bit more, which has to do with the support and resistances. But I'll get into it in a second. So the first thing, it is just looking for that indicator. So Market Dynamics is, here we go, Market Dynamics. And if you're part of the Plus, you might have some stringing branches, right? Those are alpha versions, right? Before getting to the beta versions, right? So just go for the one that has the pro in it and also have the most amount of likes. Once again, on invite only. Do not use the search bar. It will search older versions. Do not use the favorite ones because despite you have favorite those indicators, you are favoring older versions of it, right? So that's why it's so important to always get it from the invite only. So let's just click it here, Market Oracle, Market Dynamics Pro. Here we go with the most amount of likes. Click it. Sometimes it might take a little while, but let's just leave it as is. You also see that to my right, I have this hamburger menu. Why is it hamburger? Because usually it has 3 lines, right? Bread, meat, bread, right? That's how it's called, hamburger menu. You click it, right? And whatever is gonna come up. Then what we're looking for, it is this kind of like a double square thing. This is the layers. Let me give you a quick overview here. What I'm trying to do is, you see this that says Sol ETH? This is the same Solana Ethereum, right? If I turn it off and on, this is my candles. So what I want to have, it's have them all the way down. You see that? Why? Because if I implement, which I do, if I implement a color coding for my candles, I don't want them, I don't want the natural color candles to come back above it and then do that weird shift of color. So that's why I want them all at the bottom of the layers, right? So at this point, I have my Market Dynamics Pro. Look at this. I click here and also selects here. Just for the sake of knowing which layer I'm editing and migrating settings from one to another, I'm gonna take a look at which one I'm gonna be editing, which is this one. Click it here. As you can see, it clicks in here. This is the only one turned on, the one at the bottom, all right? That's why it's highlighted, but I already know where am I gonna put it. I'm gonna grab this one and put it right below or above. I like it to be above, all right? Then I'm gonna turn it off and then turn this one on just to have a sense of what am I looking at, right? I like right away can see my predictive ranges, and also I can see right here, anybody can tell me what is this? Extra kudos, who does? No one, no one? Those are our liquidity zones, all right? So it's one of the combinations that I really like. So now that I have this, I'm gonna click the gear icon. I'm gonna type clipping here on my PC because I'm using a PC, all right? But what I really want to get is any screenshot capture program that I'm using, right? Then I'm gonna click new in there and then just snapshot whatever I have in here, right? Give me just 1 second. And then I'm gonna right click and paste it here. As you can see, there it is. All right, I'm gonna move my charts out of the way, make this big so I can see my settings, all right? But I still need to go lower. So let's take a look at what else I have in here. I have liquidity zones, 10 and 5, right? I also have predictive ranges, 50 and 12 hours. And that seems to be it, right? So I will also just for the sake of not losing anything, I'm gonna take another screenshot, right click copy, and right click paste it, all right? These are gonna be my settings that I'm gonna be copying. Again, if you have 2 monitors or if you can have the 2 windows open by side by side, you will not have to do this, all right? But all right, so now that I have my 334 settings copy, I'm not yet gonna be eliminating it because I don't know if I still like the way it's gonna look. But just for now, I'm gonna turn it off and turn this one on. First of all, I see POC right here, which I don't want in this layer, and also I see a falling wedge in here, which again I don't want in this layer. All right, so let me go to the settings here. Let me also adjust this. Click here twice just to minimize it. And then what I'm gonna be going is one by one. Do I have order blocks? No. Do I have MTF order blocks? No. Do I have anything? Nothing until liquidity zones. All right. So then what is this thing right down here? This is a money flow POC. All right. So to edit that, I can go here and first of all, take a look at where is my money flow. So candle. Oh, by the way, this is what I told you. Candle color candles. All right. Or color candles. So if you activate this and then you turn on either internal or swing, your candles will be colorized in this pattern. All right, just so you know. I don't want that, so let's just, I mean, it's not even activated. Even if I click it, since this is reference to internal or swing, it's not going to be taking effect. But just for the sake of this example, I'm just going to turn it off. All right. Then here it is. POC, remember? Money flow POC. So I can turn that off. There we go. Wait for that little eye to stop moving. And as you can see, it's gone. Then what else was turn on triangles? Let's turn it off, right? So turning off triangles, stop that, perfect. So right here on my previous settings, I see that I have liquidity zones. So let's go to liquidity zones. Liquidity zones, 10 and 5. 10 and 5, all right? And then what else do I got? I got predictive ranges, all right? So let's go and look for those predictive ranges. Predictive ranges, here we go. And I have it configured at 50 and 12. So 50 and 12 hours here. So where is it? 12 hours. There we go. And then something important, I like it not to be filled up, right? So you'll see that this filling, it's going to go away in a second. Here we go. Now it's out of the way. All right. So far, that's it. I want to add a couple of more things in here because I like, we have new data here, which is, let me show you. I want to be adding, here it is, high and lows. At this point, I want my monthly high and low. And also I'm gonna be, well, I think this is a good color, but let's do it orange, all right? And it will be just one line. So there we go. Okay, that will be it. And then I can compare, all right? Now I don't need this. I can close this, and also I can close this other one. So let's compare the results from this one to this one. Oh, this one to this one. You see, so basically the same, but I also have one more liquidity area. I'm telling you, we are also working in the background for the code to be much more precise, right? And our, what's that? And what's this? Remember what we just added on top of this, right? Those were our highs and lows on the monthly, all right? So let me click OK. Now that I know they're looking fantastic, they're looking exactly like one each other. You see that one? Almost no change, right? So now I can safely remove my 334. Let me just remove it. Anything else, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. Market Oracle Pro Plus one. Yeah, this is just extra. So there we go. Now, this is it. Let me do a quick overview on a couple of new settings on the Market Oracle Pro, all right? Let me bring it up here, and you'll see that now instead of trend mode, right, or mode, then we have trendy. Trendy is trend mode, right? My personal 4-hour Bitcoin setting, it is 43, so I leave it as 43. I also have max profits, take profits, and then on my second layer, I want to show you that's what I add, my dynamic reactor, my volume reactor, and my quantum reactor. You see that? So another important thing that we have added here, it is G mode. Let me show you what it does. So sometimes, and that is depending on what you're looking at, sometimes you want a much more shorter calculation on the trends, all right? I don't know. Let's go to the 1 minute. I think that'll be a good example. Double click here. All right, so basically what I want is to start looking for the trends, and sometimes my calculations might be too intense for what I'm trying to get, right? So let's just say that I'm using a little bit of a shorter trend in here. I'm using something like, I don't know, let's go for 12. I click away. And the lower we go, this is the extent, the length, how big of a trend we're looking for, all right? So 12, it's a pretty small trend, all right? Therefore, you're gonna have a ton of signals here, which might get in the way. Usually when you're using G mode, which is God mode, you're also using it in conjunction, usually, with your candle highlight, all right? You'll see that my candle highlight, it is trend static. That is, oh shit, sorry, trend static here. So that means it is a black and white, right? Red or green, color overlay, which means if we have a sell signal or a downtrend signal, right? Everything that is downtrending, and look at that beautiful, right? That color perfectly. That downtrending signal is gonna be in color red. That also means that anything between the bullish signal is gonna be green. Does that make sense? If it does, let's just take a look at what happens if I do G mode on. And remember, usually you're using it with a candle highlight overlay. All right, let's click OK. Let's wait for that little eye to stop moving. Let's zoom out. And there we go. It gets much more cleaner. Why? Because all of the signals are gone, right? But then if they're gone, how could I read the trend? That's where your candle color comes in game, right? Look at this. So at this point, at candle color change, since it changed from green to red, I can tell you that right here we have a what? A bearish signal. And in here, since we changed it from red to green, I can tell you that somewhere around here we have a bullish signal, right? That is because I have my candle color overlay. So now I can go into G mode, turn that off, right? Click OK, and you'll see that, look at that. We did have a bearish signal and we did have a bullish signal, right? So basically what Gmode does, it is hiding or showing your trend signals, all right? Let's go back into 43. That's my preferred configuration, and I usually do it on the 4 hour. So let me read you guys through. Can you make these settings as template, apply the new one? What would you like that one, Ogun? To copy my settings? If that is the case, my friend, don't. You don't need to copy me. You don't need to copy me because you are not me, right? And I'm not mean this in the wrong way, guys, right? You guys are yourself, and that's beautiful. You need to embrace that. You don't need to be like anybody else, right? And that's what I'm here for, right? I'm trying to share with you what were the steps of self-discovering. Why? Because I have a little brain in here that I've been using for almost all my life, right? I think I started using it when I was 15 years old and on, right? Maybe you start using it earlier, but mine started working for some reason at 15 years old. All right, after that, well, then that's when I started, using my brain to develop stuff, right? And that's cool because now I have a very particular sense of what I want to trade. And that is phenomenal, right? So instead of changing your whole life that build up the way you see things, change the indicators in the way they reflect what you see, if that makes sense. Yes, instead of copying settings for all indicators to new indicators. Oh, no, that won't work. Got it. So sorry about that. Make it gotcha. Sorry, I was thinking, because I always get asked this question, sorry. So I went a little bit ahead of myself. So basically saving the settings at default. So far, they will only be saved for 1.2. So yes, I know, I wish we could have done that, but it's not on the indicator setting. It is how trading works. But yeah, I gotcha. Yep. So let's go over, Ogun, what do you, on your previous question, right? What do I have set up on my indicators and how do I have them set up? So the first one, it is the bare minimum, the simplest way, right? The thing that I really just look at for 90% of my analysis, which remember, less is more, right? So for me, I always suggest you guys, if you are going to get started on trading, at least for the love of God, right? Just learn three things. Learn support and resistance, learn trend lines, right? And learn volume. That's it. That's it. You don't need to learn anything else. Start with that, right? And that's exactly what I'm trying to do or reflecting here. So let me show you a couple of things. First, I have trendy, which is trend mode, right? I already have configured my trend mode to reflect what I like to see. So that's why you'll see big AF trends, right? Because that's what I like to have. Why? Because I know that as long as I'm green, I can overcome fake outs, right? And every pullback, it's a good opportunity to long it. Every pullback, it's a good opportunity to long it. Every pullback, it's a good opportunity to long it. Every pullback, and oh my God, I'm taking those trades all day long, right? So that's how I wanted to reflect, because that's how my brain processes best that information, right? So there we go. First things first, we got trend already reflected the way I like it, right? Then, just as reversals and also take profits, I do max profit and take profits, right? Usually when I start seeing those TPs in here, I start looking at, of course, taking profits or closing my trade, right? I usually go 50, 50, 50, 50, and that might sound like a crazy thing because that way I just took 200% out of my trade. But the way that I read this is 50% of whatever is left, all right? If I do one full entry, my first out is gonna be 50% of the full entry. My next taking profit is gonna be 50% of whatever there is left. So that would be a 25% of the original entry. Does that make sense? And then 50 off, 50 off, 50 off. That way I usually try to push it up to 3 taking profits and 1 trailing stop, if that makes sense. So far, any questions? All right, seems like there's no questions. Guys, do not be shy. That's what I'm here for, to answer any and all of your questions, right? So please make sure to ask them. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Doesn't matter if they feel like beginner questions. Doesn't matter if that feels like complex questions, right? The point is that you guys ask them. So the next thing, it's going to be, remember what I told you guys, what was trend, support and resistance, I'm going to get to it, and volume, right? So I could even, and hear me out here, I could even skip support and resistance, which I shouldn't, all right, but in the worst case scenario, I could even skip support and resistance in favor of the trend, if that makes sense, all right? So that's why using the trend system plus, what was the other one that I told you? It was volume, support and resistance, and trend theory, right? So how do I implement volume here? By implementing my dynamic reactor. Dynamic reactor is not an EMA, it's not a VWAP, it's not an MA, it's nothing like that. What it is a high volume area. Basically, we grab volume and we reinterpret it as something easy to read, right? Because let me give you an example here. Let me just go into indicators, do volume here. This is the classical volume, the free volume that gets you with everything, right? If I see big volume, when I see this big volume, I mean, how much big is it big, right? Because whenever it's already too big, the movement is gone. It already have played out, right? So jumping in the middle of a candle, that's not fun, all right? Because you don't know how's it going to play it out. Is it have more room to go? What about, like, for example, look at those ones, right? They never played out as big as this one. So are you really going to be jumping as you can see it, as you see it? I mean, in going up? Not really, right? Usually this kind of volume, it's meant to be read as patterns, all right? patterns like that. But volume is a very important part of the analysis. So how do I, let me just get rid of this. How do I read volume into a useful way? Well, we figured out that by plotting where the most important area of volume is at in a given time per candle, all right, that's going to be a way better factor for you to read. Why? Because you know that you need, first of all, big body candles, big movements to pierce through area of volume, of high volume, all right? And then after you have your big body candles going through, right, piercing it back, that will be a hard task. Why? Because this is your high volume area, right? So that's why I always, or in most of the cases, alongside with my oscillator, all right, every single time that I see flip of the ribbon on my oscillator and also hitting a high volume area zone, guess what I'm doing? Longing that area, right? Longing that area, right? Again, you need more than one single indicator. That is the three-layer strategy. I'm going to get to it. Don't worry. So that's why this is my base setup. All right. At this point, let's just do a quick analysis. I'm not trading Solana versus Ethereum, just so you know. I just decided to set something that I'm not familiarized with, so we can do a live example here, right? Where is my high volume area? It's all the way up here. Could it be going all the way up? Yes. But since I don't have support and resistances, first of all, I can tell you right away that I'm bearish. Why? First, I'm red, right? Second, I have structure here. Lower lows, lower highs. And next, I'm not above my high area of volume. I'm below the area of volume, right? Therefore, trying to pierce that area is not only far away at this point, but also will be a difficult task, if that makes sense, right? So let me just get rid of this. Yes, it worked like, you have a point, but I would say that your magnets will be more that open orders, because that is liquidity to be a hunt, if that makes sense. But yeah, you got a point there, Lucky Deal. Yeah. So at this point, what else am I going to be looking here? Well, I already know. Remember trend lines, right? Trends. That's what I told you to learn, right? So first of all, I'm going to be looking for a bottoming factor. Like what? Double bottom, ranging, which is Wyckoff, right? Or something like that, or sweep of the lows. So, like for example, right here, we have a beautiful double bottom, but then what? We did not break through the trend line. You see that? So what else? Well, I just need to be patient. Look at that. Maybe an itty bitty tiny double bottom. What's going to be in the next step? Breakout. It's not about the breakout. It's about your retest, holding that trend line, making a higher low, right? Entering there, and then claiming or trying to claim a higher high. If I do that, I'm onto something, and let's just ride that puppy up. Does that make sense? Until we get to dynamic reactor, we're going to look for a rejection. We're going to look for not losing previous support areas, and then it's not about the breakout. It's about your retest, rinse and repeat, and off we go. Does that make sense? And all of that is just by having volume, trend, and some indications that I have a bouncing zone, which is kind of like a support resistance, but cleaner. Does that make sense? Let me know. With visible range profile. Well, you are talking about a volume profile. Yes, but you will be using that volume profile to plot shelves or areas of volume which act as support and resistance. So it will not work the same way, but it will follow the same theory, bouncing off high volume areas. So yes, perfect. All right, now let's take a look at my next structure, right? At this point, I already have talked about my dynamic reactor, but we have other reactors, right? another reactor that gets thicker and thinner depending on how much volume there's into an instant. So if I see it getting thicker, well then not only I will be expecting a harder area to pierce through, but also maybe a big reaction at that zone, right? And then we also have, if you have the plus version, you will also have your quantum reactor. A quantum reactor, it's very similar to the dynamic reactor, but it's intended to give you a more certain long-term scenario perspective, right? And that's why I also like to have it as a slow setting. So you'll see that at this point, let me turn it on. I have, there we go, my other reactor, all right? Let me show you. At this point, what I'm using it for, it is to coexist on braking areas and also to coexist on support areas. Usually when I see them flipping or making, look at that. That DNA pattern, that is a range, right? What we do in ranges, yes, I know this is a big AF range, right? Nonetheless, it's a range. But also, depending on what you're looking at, a trend if you are on a 15 minutes time frame, right? But at this point, that helps you to understand that you can buy what and sell what. Can you guys help me with that? What do you buy into a range? Buy low, sell high, right? Buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. And you'll see that as soon as it's not about the breakout, it's about your retest, right? Then confirmation maybe, it's not about the breakout, it's about your retest. There we go, you see that? Look at that particular movement. If you compare this movement to this movement, this is a range and this is a trending movement, if that makes sense. All right, so that's what also it is very useful. Look at that, for example. Again, coexistent for support, right? Let me just clear this up. So in the next case scenario, let's just do a quick analysis here. I will want to see, first of all, dynamic are coming lower and do flattening out, which also implements making maybe a double bottom in here, right? And then start trying to claim it. This will also then come lower, right? And then we'll do something like that, which give me a second point of bounce, which is, it's not about your breakout bouncing from the next reactor. It's about your retest. There you go. Then the next reactor is close enough, and there you go. On the movement, on with the movement, right? Let me give you an example. You see here how those two, look at that, going down, double bottom, flattening out, making it higher low, making it higher high, coming in low. It's not about the breakout, bouncing off the secondary reactor. It's about your retest. There you go. Couldn't be more perfect, just like textbook. And off we go on with the movement. If you miss it, don't worry. You'll have second, third, fourth, fifth chances to jump back in. Any questions so far? All right, we still have 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, sorry. Let me try to speed a little bit through it. Let me clear this up, all right? That's why then my second layer, it's heavily based on the reactors, all right? The next thing that I will have, it is my Market Dynamics Pro 336, right? And here's when I start overlaying stuff, right? Now I'm into a little bit more experienced things like any, by the way, guys, any line on your in here on your price action should be read as a support and resistance with special characteristics. If it's an order block, it's a support and resistance with magnetic characteristics, right? So on and so forth, depending on what theory you're looking for. Just to make things simple, right? It's for factors of this class, everything will be read as a support and a resistance, right? So let me turn it on, and the first thing you're gonna be seeing a bunch of lines, right? Let me show you here my settings very quick. I'm using the POC, right? I'm also using liquidity zones and trend lines. And support and resistances. All right. I know it's a little bit complex. I can even take out here my triangles just not to complicate stuff, right? And I try to keep as little as possible. So as you can see, everything can be read as a support and resistance. Remember what I told you guys, looking for maybe double bottom factor. Oh, look at that. It's giving me a very neat automated trend line. So what am I going to be looking at? It's not about the breakout. Look at that, a resistance, right? Bouncing from it, it's about the retest. There we go on a resistance on my weekly low. You see that? And then off we go. Does that make sense? But that will only be if I can make either a double bottom or at least or a higher low. All right. If not, well, then what happens here? I'm gonna get stopped out, which is fine. Remember, stopping out, getting stopped out is just part of the game here. We're gonna be trying not to get stopped out, of course, right? But we're not just gonna be pulling down our stop loss just to the infinite. Does that make sense? I'd rather just cut it short and then retry it the next time. Also, remember the trend is your friend until we're getting very close to the trend line and dynamic reactor. All right. So at this point, I'm looking for what could it be next. Well, if I lose this area on the next movement, what's going to be my next target here? And not only because I have a support, I also have liquidity area and liquidity areas here. So a much better area to look for a big bounce. It's a confluence zone, if that makes sense. Hello, there any reason why divergence has different colors? Yes, different colors, different divergences. If you go over here, let me give it, you'll see here green, normal divergence, bullish, red, normal, bearish divergence, yellow, hidden, bullish divergence, orange, hidden, bearish divergence, and blue, any multiple divergence. Triple, quadruple, quintuple divergence. So that is it. But you also can learn much more about it on the docs that we offer. Let me see if I can get them for you here. There we go. You can just let me just drop this to you. Copy, paste. No, you're not, buddy. You're not. That's part of the questions. Do take that, erase that, my friend. Erase that. There's no that kind of questions here. All questions go, my friend. All questions go, and that's what I'm here for. So make me a favor, take that out of the way because that is a smart question. That is a smart question. And there's the docs, by the way. So yeah, do not say that. All questions are good questions, and that's what I'm here for. I did not get what I am asking smart ass questions, right? I first nailed down the basic ones, right? That's what I want you guys to do. So nail down the best questions, which are the simplest ones. So you can go to here, and then you can go, for example, to oscillator, chart prime oscillator, right? Click it here, and you can go to prime oscillator, and then you can read a little bit more on how is it built. There we go. We explain a little bit on divergences. In most of the cases, we're going to have videos about every single thing that you might need. After this, I'm sure going to have much more questions. Please bring them, right? So let's go over this very quick now. We still have now 6 minutes. And so as you can see, what I'm looking for, it is confluence, right? So let's do a final analysis in here. Let me turn on, or let me put up my classical oscillator, right? You'll see a great example, by the way. So great question, because right now we have bullish divergence, two separate divergences, two separate bullish divergences, and then a big AF blue line divergence, right? That is a 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 valleys. That is a quadruple bullish divergence plus a two separate divergences. So we're building up strength here, right? We're building up some strength here. So as you can see, building up that bullish strength. Now what we're looking for, that either support. We are on support. What else are we missing? We're missing the burst breakout. So we want to see that burst breakout, right? Going to hit this trend, this resistance. We do not enter. We wait it if we're looking for reversals, right? And then we enter in here as we are breaking through the zero line. Let me show you something very interesting on the oscillator. In here, you'll see me having a center line. If you're using your plus oscillator, it is missing it. Well, it's very faint. So what I like to do is just grab a horizontal line, put it there, right click on it or double click on it, and then do a zero. Oh, come on, a zero right here on coordinates, all right? Click OK, right click once again, and lock it. This is my do I have or I don't have momentum, all right? So let me also show you something very interesting, and this never fails. Since we break down all the way to right now, right? And also since we break to the upside till we break down, right? So what we're looking is these kind of movements where the oscillator either clusters above, right? Or clusters below. Does that make sense? Look at that. What happened as we cluster above? Beautiful movement to the upside, right? Look at this one. It bunched up at the top. So beautiful movement to the upside. Now it clustered below. It bunched up below. What happened? Beautiful movement to the downside. That's why I always give a huge amount of importance to the ribbon breaking through that zero line. All right. Now let me go very quick. Confirm log. Yeah. Now let me go very quick to my settings of every layer. In the next layer, I have daily support and resistance, and this is the caveat that I was talking about. Like, let me show you. When I go to my settings, so because we needed more space on the RAM of the TradingView servers to put the height and lows, we removed the duplicated support and resistance. Previously, you could add 2 sets of support and resistances. Now it's not able to, but you can still do multi-time frame. So on the first one at the top, I have support and resistance time frame chart. That means it moves dynamically to whatever time frame I am. All right. It has a middle on midterm mode, which is neither the closest range, neither the farthest range of the support and resistances, right? And then up to 5 support and resistances. And then on my second layer, you see how they turn on and off, right? I have a multi-time frame fixed 12 hours support and resistance. That means that if I move to 50 minutes in here, I will still be seeing the 12 hours. If I move to the daily, I'll still be looking at the 12 hours. If I move to the 1 minute, I still be looking at the 12 hours, if that makes sense, right? So now, just to have multiple sets of overlays, I need to separate them. Oh, my bad. Here we go, like that. And what I'm going to be looking at, once again, is for these kind of channels, right, where those support and resistance coexist, right, or they're very tight together. You see that? Perfect. All right, let me now go to the next one. The next one is my volume profile with my POC and my, what's this? Anyone remembers that? This is my, oh, come on, liquidity zones. All right. And then finally, well, not finally, but almost finally, my predictive ranges with order blocks. And now finally, predictive ranges, but in a different time frame. This is 12-hour predictive ranges with same thing in here. As you can see, I love my liquidity zones. All right. So that's how I have it configured for the most part. And here it goes for my 3-layer strategy. First of all, I want to have something that reacts very quickly and very fast as possible. Usually, and I don't have it in here, I need to add it. That's why I have it right here, right down here, right? I want to add my not trendy, Not any of those. Well, max profit and take profit, yes. Autopilot, but also I want to add my reversals on chart. All right. And then I'm going to click OK and turn it on. These reversals usually are very, very good hunting tops and bottoms. If you want a full description of reversals, I have a great class on that on the class recordings, important classes, video number 1, all right? So that's something that I'm gonna be also looking at. The next thing I want to look at, it is my trend, all right? So I also want to see what my trend is, all right? To also predict where those reversals, how those reversals are gonna be playing out. If I am in a bearish trend, my reversals to the upside might be flat pauses of continuation. All right, let me clear this up. And then the next thing that I want to have, it is something that tells me support and resistance. All right, the same 3 kind of things that I ask you to look at. Remember, trend, volume, support and resistance. All right. So at this point, support and resistance, it is one of my favorites. Come on, where are you? There we go. But I also like to have a predictive mathematical support and resistance. Why? Because I can use calculations how things are moving to start doing predictive movements in the future. So I usually pair classical support and resistances with predictive ranges. All right? Now I almost have it like this one. So now I almost have it all complete. Then the final thing is going to be my oscillator. On my oscillator, I'm going to be looking for clusters or reversals, break to the 0 lines, or double bottom or double top scenarios. All right. So for example, let's do one of those analysis very quick. I am at support right now. Perfect, great. I can see it. 2 lines of support, and also I have a predictive line in here, and also I have a previous low, and I have a reversal. Should I be taking it? I could. I absolutely could. But what I'm going to be looking for, it is that last movement, right? It's not about the breakout. It's about a retest on my support, effectively making a higher low, or at least a double bottom, and that's going to be my entry. Long positions, as I also break through my 0 line. All right. So we already have, we are right now at the end of the class. Let me just read a couple of questions here. Could you also talk about this support and resistance? I already went through it. It works exactly the same. You can also check them out here on the support and resistances. What is it? Market dynamics, feature, support and resistance, and trend lines. And right here, you can learn a little bit more. We have predictive ranges. We have the trend lines. And where are the next one? Oh, this is market structure. But also, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, go to important classes, watch video number 1 and video number 3. I talk about those. Let's see. HIOC, is there a 1-minute setup? Would you recommend using? At this point, Bass, I will not be recommending anything. That is because my intention is not to give you something to use. I don't trade on the 1 minute at all. Could I recommend something? Yes, I could. But I'm not, at the end of the class, it will be very responsible for me to recommend something that I'm not going to be explaining, if that makes sense. So for now, watch this class recording or go to important classes and watch my setup video for a little bit of a better suggestion there. The only thing that I could maybe recommend is using a big enough number on your trendy that give you huge accurate trends. And then you trade the trend, don't use the trend mode to try to scalp it. If that will be my only recommendation, not financial advice. May we say if reversal signal didn't turn into actual reversals, we can short it, for example. All right, this is on my class, but let's take a peek in here very quickly. Give me, guys, 1 second. I have gone over this, but there's a good reminder. So there's a good chance to make a reminder. So Give me guys 1 second, please. All right, you might be seeing my Discord here. Remember to go into Chart Prime. Once you're on Chart Prime, look for additional content. Here is additional content. Under additional content, you'll see important classes, video number 1. All right, it is outdated, I know, but everything works the same. Just so you know, Smart Money Concepts is not a standalone. Now it's part of the market dynamics, right? And that will be it. So right here, somewhere around 1 hour, 25 minutes, I'm talking about the reversals. This is very, very important. Let me show you why. And also, at the end of this class, watch it. I go in full extent on how to do your first 3-layer strategy. And I also talk about how to calculate stop losses and taking profits. Oh, my bad. It is right here. All right. Around time, 1 hour and 10 minutes. I do explain how reversals work and how to read 3 kinds of reversals. Not all reversals are made equal, all right? They are made based on a theory, and that theory is flexible, if that makes sense. Here is your first kind of reversal, sharp, big reversal, top and bottom, right? That's what we all are expecting and want to see. But remember, reversals is not always on price action. We also have reversal in time, all right? So the next one, it is a reversal on a breakout retest. So when we're breaking through a big support or big resistance, we have a reversal. Most likely we're gonna have back support in continuation. So this reversal is, hey, watch it. And then your entry is right here on this on the next support, right? And then finally, the reversal over time, especially when we are on a Wyckoff pattern. That is, we are having a trend, a reversal in a range. We are already retracted or we already corrected over time. And this is known as a fat pause of either bullish or bearish continuation. So basically, those are those examples. Go watch this class. I'm telling you, this explains a lot. Another caveat, very quick, just so you don't get disoriented. Let me show you very quick. On Market Oracle, again, this is outdated, but still explains everything on how to configure it, on how you what you should be looking to configure. 1 second. It's almost here. Come on. Oh, it's just a long class. Here is. Trend sensitivity and trend agility. Now, just forget about this. Just do one trend sensitivity, right? Which is trendy sensitivity. That's it. So instead of using 2, you just start with 1. My suggestion is start at 20, then do 10 increments, and then fine tune based on your threshold. So that's how you use the support and resistances. Let me also point you out where to find this. It is important classes, right? Important classes, video number 1 and video number 3. Please watch them. Again, I know they're outdated on names, but the functionality behind it and the concept to configuring are exactly the same. So guys, thank you so much for joining today. Hopefully this is out of help. I think we haven't gone over a full overview. Other than that, as always, thank you so much for joining and see you guys tomorrow.